Huelyn Duvall. 1. First guitar. When Huelyn Duvall was born to Bill and Isla Duvall in 1939, he was welcomed with a sister Doris, 7 years old, and a brother Bob, 3 years old. Then to be followed 4 years later by another sister Ruthie. 2 years after Ruthie, Carolyn was born. His father was a school teacher, his mother was a housewife. He got his first guitar when he was 14. Most of the influences were the local radio, which was country music. Huelyn's father was the superintendent of the school in Huckabay, where he graduated in 1957. The school only had about 300 students total. It was in nearby Stephenville, population was about 10,000, known for dairy cattle milk production, that Huelyn got involved with recording. 2. Start. In 1955–56 he started hearing a lot of rock and roll artists such as Carl Perkins, Elvis Presley, Buddy Knox, Buddy Holly, and several others. In 1956, while still in high school, Huelyn met Lonnie Thompson, a lead guitarist. He was in college. They both liked the new music and started playing together. At a local radio station they would record enough songs on the weekend to have one played each day the following week. Next weekend start the process all over again. One day the owner of a dairy that Lonnie worked at, milking cows, said that we would sound better if we had a slap bass. Lonnie found Ralph Clark at another college close by and we began to work together. Lonnie had a Les Paul custom guitar and Ralph Clark a blonde bull bass. Huelyn's dad bought him a Gibson J50 guitar after his harmony guitar had got squashed under one of the new style power seats. James Matheson, a drummer, joined the group shortly after, and Johnny Thompson, Lonnie's twin brother, played rhythm guitar and backup vocals with Lonnie. Between February and September 1957 the group did approximately 50 local shows, from high schools to colleges to radio stations to theaters to sock hops to everything in between. They became regulars at the Majestic Theater in Fort Worth, at the Cowtown Hoedown, and at the Big D Jamboree in Dallas. They weren't allowed to play rock and roll at the Cowtown Hoedown until one night with a packed house. Huelyn told the band that they were going to rock the house and see what happened. Several encores later, rock and roll was there to stay. The group had even taken a country name, Huelyn Duvall and the Troublesome Three, to please management. 3. Material for a recording session. In the summer of 1957 Lonnie introduced Huelyn to Danny Wolf, who was a musician, singer, and songwriter. They quickly started to put material together for a recording session, as Danny had got Huelyn a contract with Challenge Records, a Gene Autry company that had just gotten started. The first recording session was at the Owen Bradley studio in Nashville on September 27, 1957. They recorded Teen Queen, Comin' or Goin', Boom Boom Baby, and Pucker Paint. Grady Martin played lead guitar, Floyd Kramer on piano, Buddy Harman on drums, and the Jordanaires. Huelyn was very disappointed that his band was not going to be used on the session. They had played so much together and all of them had become very good friends, but Huelyn had no control over that. They wanted to use studio musicians. The Troublesome Three never played professionally again, though they remain good friends to this day. January 27, 1958 Huelyn did his second session for Challenge at Gold Star Studios in Hollywood. He recorded Fool's Hall of Fame, Friday Night on a Dollar Bill, Hummin' Them Dinger, and You Knock Me Out. This is where he met Dave Burgess. Huelyn did dates in Los Angeles and San Diego at the same time in auditoriums. He also had a session set to cut a couple of instrumentals with some local musicians from the area. They had no lead guitar player and he was asked to sit in on the session. However, he declined because he couldn't play lead guitar. The main cut was called Train to Nowhere, and needing a B-side they hurriedly put together a cut called Tequila. Huelyn provided some O's and U's on Train to Nowhere and yelled Tequila at the end of the instrumental. As Huelyn said, it turned out to be the closest I ever got to a hit record. For building your own studio. Danny Wolf built his own recording studio in 1958. They recorded the 2 remaining records on Starfire Across the Aisle and ITS and Oh Wonder. Also on Twinkle Records, Beautiful Dreamer and Tear-Stained Letters. The studio musicians included a local songwriter and guitar player named Jimmy Green and Tudor Boatman's group The Chaparrals. Danny wrote a lot of songs and Huelyn recorded most of them at one time or another. Huelyn kept thinking that Joe Johnson at Challenge and Danny Wolf were going to set him up some tours and shows as they had promised. They were both managers at 10% each per contract. They kept saying that the next release would be a hit. In 1959 he went to Tarleton State College in Stephenville where Lonnie also went to school. At that time, without a hit record and no management support, there was no way of make a living in music and supporting a band. Between 1959 and 1960 Huelyn played Friday and Saturday nights at a place called Andy's in Strawn about 25 miles from Stephenville. They were called Huelyn Duvall and the Arrows. The posters on the wall read, "Dance to the sharp music of the Arrows." Tudor Boatman's group played there during the week and on Sunday. Things were looking up personally. Huelyn met Sandy at her job in Ft. Worth, the same place his brother worked. "I went to see him one day and fell in love with a beautiful young secretary," Huelyn remembers. He found out later that she had been at one of his concerts at her high school and she knew of him. Research, Vitor Hugo Lizard Leonardi. "Hello friend, I am a big music lover and because I thought that without music I would be nothing in this life, I created this channel. The soul is the root of music, and in my humble view, everything we hear today of good music is related to the soul. If you liked it, leave your like and subscribe to the channel of this force so that new content like this can be produced. Thank you very much."